Hi everyone, my name is Jesus Camilo Hualcón Montilla, and I'm going to present the introduction of our transdisciplinary analysis of the Jaime Esteban Moreno Jaramillo homicide case. Our group chosen to analyze a case that shocked Colombia, and in this case, on October 31 in 2025, Jaime Esteban Moreno Jaramillo, a 20-year-old student of Universidad de los Andes, lost his life. He was attacked leaving a Halloween party at a nightclub in northern of Bogotá. The Fiscalía charged two men of this case: Juan Carlos Suárez Ortiz, a 27 years old, also graduate from Los Andes, and Ricardo Rafael González Castro, a 23 years old man provened from Cartagena. Both were charged with aggravated homicide for placing the victim in a defenseless situation. But here's the question we need to ask, and is why this particular death generates such intense media attention, while Jaime case has occupied front page for weeks. The 51st homicides registered in Ciudad Bolívar during 2023 were reduced to brief notes labeled as score settling or drug disputes. This selective is not accidental. It reveals something fundamental about how our criminal justice system operates in reality. But what's even concerning in this phenomenon of intolerance violence, according to the Ministry of Defense, just in 2025, there have been over 2,000 homicides related to conflict situations in Colombia, and 1,400 of these cases were faked. This is not just one homicide. In the words of Zaffaroni, it's called media criminology, and that is because certain cases become symbols. They chant broader social anxieties about security and public order, and they trigger demands of punishment. Our approach has an analysis from neurobiology, psychology, sociology, and public policy, and allows to understand not just what happened, but why it matters. What does this case reveal about the structures of violence, inequality, and selectivity in Colombia's criminal justice system? So there is the critical questions that guides our entire analysis. And is the institutional response to this case represent rational criminal policy, or is just the manifestation of punitive populism?
It is very interesting to try to understand sociological factors while doing criminological research. So in this case that we're studying, there are some characteristics that are, highlighted from the media, and that we can also analyze. So we have these two people, Gonzalez and Fernandez, supposed to be from Venezuela, low resources, economically speaking, and they were into this this party that was for some students from the Universidad de los Andes. They're kind of wealthy people. And what were they doing there? I mean, did they need to pay to enter to this party? So this other guy, Suarez, that was the main actor in the situation where these guys hit or punch, in this case to Moreno. And there was supposed, according to the media, that this lady, Fernandez, was supposed to be like sexual assault or something like that, but Moreno didn't pay attention to that. So they were like following them, they were like harassed by these two people, Gonzalez and Suarez, and they were encouraged by these other females, especially Fernandez. Now, was it true that Moreno was trying, to do something related to the sexual situation there, or was Fernandez the one who was like, trying to get some money because they saw that Moreno was kind of wealthy because he was studying at the Universidad de los Andes, and maybe Moreno didn't pay attention to her, and she felt like, okay, I'm not going to live here without. That she was felt like was discriminated by him. So in this case, we found a lot of situations here where these people from Venezuela were not from here, so they didn't have the values that share in the society of Bogota, and also they justify their conduct because they didn't want to look weak before this woman, and that was very important for them, like the machismo and all that situations. So different things converge here, maybe a culture of violence within their families, and of course all this came together, and finally they did this delictive act, and well, we all know the ending.
The psychological approach in this case can also be analyzed from the perspective of psychological theories of criminality, which explains the crime by focusing on psychological development, personality traits, criminal mind, and individual behavior. This perspective suggests that the origins of criminal conduct may lay in learning of antisocial behavior, the presence of certain personality characteristics, or mental health difficulties. From this perspective, it could be considered that the individuals involved in this crime may have been influenced by environments that foster the acquisition of criminal behaviors, or by personal traits that increase the likelihood of aggressive or violent actions. Both individuals that are accused from this murder are very particular because it seems that have different social backgrounds. Juan Carlos Suarez Ortiz, a student at the University of Los Andes, and Ricardo Gonzalez, a 22-year-old vendor of hot dogs. They might be probably exposed to environments that increase their violent behavior. We describe in our work some psychological theories that can provide an explanation of how individual traits and learned behaviors shape criminal conduct. We focus on three of them specifically. The first one is the social learning theory by Albert Bandura. This theory established that criminal behavior is learned through observation and interaction with the environment. So if a human being, especially a young child, is exposed to criminal behavior, they are likely to adopt these behaviors by their own. In his book, Social Learning Theory, he said that there are four essential processes in observation learning: attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. The next theory is criminal personality. This theory was mainly developed by Hans Eyck, who proposed that criminal personality, although a psychological theory, has an organic basis and is combined to biological and social factors that they are the influence of criminality. So, people who have high levels of psychotism combined with emotional instability are more likely to engage in antisocial behaviors such as lack of empathy and aggression. Taking together these theories, we can conclude that criminal behavior cannot be explained as a single factor. Instead, there is an interplay between learned behaviors, individual personality, and social moods. Maybe both individuals were raised in challenging environments, were exposed to violence, or social adversity contributed to the learning of antisocial behaviors. That type of context shapes the way the people perceive the conflict.
The raging homicide of James Esteban Moreno Jaramillo showed also he understood through the lens of neurocriminological theories. Among these, some suggest that an individual's capacity to inhibit an aggressive response is linked to the function of the central nervous system, particularly the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision making, emotional modulation, and ethical judgment. According to Rain, dysfunction or reduced activity in this region, as documented by research in the neurobiology of aggressive behavior, is associated with a greater propensity for antisocial and violent conduct, especially in scenarios of high emotional activation, such as an altercation. Furthermore, alcohol consumption acts as a chemical disinhibitor that directly influences the regulatory functions of the frontal lobe. Therefore, the event of lethal intolerance is at a primary level a failure in the neurochemical and neuropsychological regulation that interacts with a conflict situation. While it is undeniable that criminality and particularly extreme aggression is rarely determined by a single genetic factor, it is more accurate to indicate that it arises from interaction between a person's genetics and their social environment. In this sense, it is of a vital importance to avoid reinforcing the structural selectivity that the initial text exposed, especially in the profiling of Ricardo Gonzalez and of the accused.
From a transdisciplinary perspective, it becomes clear that structural, situational, psychological, neurobiological, and cultural factors interact simultaneously, creating conditions of high-extent social vulnerability. Contemporary criminology recognizes that these elements do not operate in isolation. Social inequalities, environments of disinhibition, normalized violence, learning, and failures in emotional self-regulation recognize on another, reforming a psychosocial framework that facilitates the emergence of extreme behaviors. Additionally, the role of media criminology is evident. Selective coherence amplifies certain cases based off information of socioeconomic interest, producing distorted perceptions of crimes and generating public pressure of rapid punitive response that often differing from principles of rational and proportional criminal policy. In sum, this case confirmed that understanding of preventing violence in Colombia requires moving below simplistic narratives. Only a transdisciplinary approach integrating social, cultural, psychological, and media dimensions can support the development of comprehensive public policy capable of addressing the real conditions that give rise to violence.